Oh, there's someone right there. They're watching. Cool. We're gonna make some pickups today. So I gotta make a pickup for a customer, and I found parts to make a second one. So I figured I'd just make two in one shot, but we're gonna make one and kind of show you the process. I brought up one of my old winders. This is the one that I got started on, and I actually still use quite a bit. Super small, super simple thing, and it's looking worse for wear, but it's basically this thing. And when it comes to pickup winding, you don't need a really fancy looking winder if you're controlling the tension with your fingers and the spread of the coil layers with your hands by eye and feel. You basically just need something that you could stick a bobbin to and have it spin and count the turns. That's all you really need. And this does all of that super cheap compared to all the other options. There's a lot better winders that can stop on demand where you want it, but when you've got a feel for it, even a cordless drill strapped into a vise with an attachment would do the same. So what I like about this one is right now I've got it mounted to a slice of log and with a foam piece between, and it's screwed into it, and it just kind of helps absorb some of the vibration while it's turning. But it's small and I could just grab it and go. And so here we are in the studio upstairs, the studio office, and I'm able to do that here instead of having to clean out the shop in the basement, where it's kind of like that mad scientist thing where it's an organized mess, which works great for me, for productivity, for making pickups, but doesn't really work well with cameras. So we're up here. I did move some stuff around, and now we've got a new spot for tabletop stuff right by the window here. Maybe get some better lighting that way. And also I can kind of show some winding process without giving away all my secrets. Whatever that is. Every winder's got their way of going about things and how they end up with the end result that they stamp their brand on. So the pickup in question is a 595. So the best way I can explain what my 595 is for Romain Pickups would be somewhere along the lines of like a modern high output. So, you got the Seymour Duncan Custom 5, JB, the DiMarzio, I forget what model, but around the 14K range, K ohms range on thinner coil wire. Should give you good, just a more of a modern character, slightly scooped. We're running Alnico 5s on that. And we'll just wind through the process. I'm going to speed up a lot of the stuff so that you can kind of see the process, but it doesn't take an hour. So we're gonna do that and talk about the build, right? So we start out with plastic bobbins. These are ABS bobbins. So the difference between these and butyrate is this is a harder plastic. They're not an inferior product. They're just not period correct PAFs. But these aren't PAFs. These are modern humbuckers. So what we're using there is ABS. These are cream. These ones here, I'm going to make for one of my guitars just for further testing. But there's a bit of buffing compound in there, and they're a little scratched up because these are from a reject pile. But I had the right string spacing bobbins in these two here, so I can make two identical sets. and I'm going to be doing some further testing of this. And then these are going on nickel silver base plates, short leg base plates, and they're 52 millimeter spaced, both bridge pickups. And we're going to be mounting those with wiring them up with 4 conductor leads so that they can be, you know, split, reverse, phase, whatever, right? All those things. So this one in question is going to be going in a strap. So converting it to an HSS setup. So there's a 5-way switch. So you're going to want some of that, the options that the 4 conductor wire gives you. So we're going to do them both that way. Other than that's it. Let's get to winding. All right, so here we are at my little rinky-dink setup here. It's like a nice little satellite portable winder station for the video. For this stuff here, so I've got the bobbin mounted here onto this piece. I used to have double stick tape on this piece and just stick it right on, but I find this is a lot more practical. And then what I do is, for this particular model, I don't have any start and finish leads to start. I just do this, and I tape it on, and it looks as rinky-dink as this whole winding setup, but it works. And that's all that really matters, is that it works. And then we check the alignment with these guides, right? So I'm just kind of going between these 2 stop guides here. So I want to make sure that these don't go too far to push on the base plate. And it is. Sorry, not the base plate, but the flanges of the bobbin. So now I just need to make some adjustments. Every time I use this for different pickup formats, I have to make slight adjustments. So a lot of this stuff is all by hand and by eye. There, that looks good. And then you do the other one. Again, this isn't really a how-to wind pickups. This is how I wind pickups, and this is how it works for me. But it may not work for everyone. And the real trick is you pretty much have to do it yourself and figure out your way to do it. But in order to get here, it takes a lot of trial and error to develop your feel for it. And it's, at this point, it's just easier to just buy a pickup than to make them. All right, so now we're ready at this point to wind the bobbin. So basically I just grab it here and we just slowly start turning just to kind of get a base, and then we go high speed. Just to get it started. Got a nice even, I don't know if you can see that, we've got a nice even layer. So now we're going to go full speed both on the machine and on the video until we're done winding this bobbin. There we go. One bobbin done. Now I just take a piece of tape just to secure this in place. And then we can remove the bobbin, carefully peeling this wire too. You probably can't see the coil wire on camera. And unscrew this, and the bobbin comes right off. So there you go. Pretty even coil, nice and tightly wound, but not too tight. Got a start and a finish. You see that? Really tiny, fine wire there. So that's one bobbin. And we do the same with so that was the screw side coil. This will be the slug side coil. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this up, and then we just start over. All right, bobbin number 2, same thing. And there we go. Another bobbin wound. So I just got to tape off this finish wire here. Cut it loose. So this pickup here is actually using 43 gauge coil wire, which is finer than the more common one, which is 42 gauge. So what I would use with PAFs for my 59ers would be 42 gauge plain enamel. Here we're using 43 gauge poly-coated for a more modern sound, and it is a cheaper coil wire, the poly versus the plain enamel, because the process is a bit different, and so the cost is different. So this winder here is one that I use for a lot of when I'm doing repairs and rewinds. I use this one a lot, mainly because I can either pretty much mount anything to this bracket, or I can take this off and just put double stick tape, or in the past I've also built different brackets for different pickups. So when you get something vintage, especially like the old Japanese made stuff, they were really creative with how they put pickups together, and when they die and you need to rewind them, you got to get pretty creative on how you're going to mount them. But in the end, here we go. We've got 2 wound bobbins. We've got the screw coil and the slug coil. I'm going to wire them up with the start and finish wires of each. I'm not going to show that process because it's a little tricky, and this is a customer's pickup, so I want to make sure I get that done right. And doing it while having a camera hovering over is a little distracting. But once I do that, then it's smooth sailing. So the bobbins will go from loose wire to taped up with the pigtail wires, and then we'll do the slugs and screws. All right, so we've gone ahead and pigtailed the bobbins. They're all taped up. They are measuring some DC resistance, so they're working. Now we got to put on the pole screws and the slugs. And the slugs basically just push right in. So I like to put them on like this. I'm gonna have to go downstairs, and these are particularly stiff, so I'm gonna need to use my press for this. But essentially you just line them up, and then I got a press, and I just pushes them down so that they're flat on top, and then they stick out on the bottom. And then these ones here, you just do the boring old hand threaded thing for each screw. So reason I do this by hand is that once it starts to go, the screwdriver tends to like to slip out, and it's a very thin slot in the screws, so you kind of have to get one that fits in there but still wants to slide out. And so if you use a drill with a bit and you slip, instead of hitting your thumb like I did twice, you scratch up the top of the bobbin, and then you got to start all over again. And I don't like that. So I do it the by hand way. Takes more time, but you get a much better result. It's easier to control. So I'm going to put the other 5, and I'm going to go press these, and then we'll assemble this to the base plate, which I have soldered the ground wire here, and then these will correspond with the wires on the bobbins. Right, so you've got black and green for the south coil, which is a screw side coil, and red and white for the slug side coil, which is the north coil. I use the Gibson color scheme for the wires. If you look online, you'll see that DiMarzio has its own color scheme. Ibanez has, even though they're primarily DiMarzio, they have blue instead of green. Seymour Duncan has its own thing. They're all, I don't know why they're all different. I just picked one and been sticking to it since. So I go with the Gibson color scheme, in case you're ever wondering for wiring. And wiring diagrams are available on the website as well. But I'll put the pull screws in, and then I'm gonna run this under the press, and then we'll build a pickup. Okay, so we've gone ahead and pressed the slugs in, so now they're all flat with the top, and they're sticking out of the bottom here. So the first thing to do is we've got they call these the keeper bars. So basically it's a magnetic piece of steel, right? And the holes correspond with pull screws. And they could be a little tricky to get on at first. Now it is important that there is a tight fit on there, because if it's a little loose and you mount it all together, you run the chance of that vibrating and causing unwanted feedback. So you don't want that. So then this just basically goes in like this. Then you'll want to grab your magnet, right? And I sometimes write what it is in case they get serviced down the road, so we know what it is. This is a polarity tester, also from Chat Design in Canada. Same company as my little winder here. And what you want is black is south, white is north. So you want black side to be on the screw side. Well, in my case, right? The way that I make them. That goes like that. And then you need base plate screws. In this case here, these are little black screws. Now there's two different kinds of base plate screws you can get. You can get some that are non-magnetic and some that are. So these ones are. Whereas on my PAFs, the 59ers, I use a non-ferrous base plate screw, which is not magnetic. So these will affect the magnetic field, but this is by design, right? So you choose the right screw for the right application, and in this case, we use these magnetic screws. They're not magnets, but they attract. Magnets attract them. So now you've got the magnet secured, right? Alnico 5, screw side is south. Double check that. There you go. And then the next one is the slug side. Now when you put this guy in, you also have to find a maple spacer or a plastic spacer, depending on what if you're building a pickup. But in this case, I'm using maple spacers. I do cut them myself. These are Canadian maple, and they will take some adjustment to fit. So we'll do that. All right, with a little bit of fitment, we're able to get the maple spacer in. And everything is good and kosher here. Now, in case you're wondering, basically, I'm not reinventing the wheel here as far as how it's put together. This is pretty much how all humbuckers are put together, with the exception of some the Fishman Fluence stuff. They've got a whole other ball game there, like circuit boards instead of coil wire and all that stuff. But for the most part, this is the way it is, and then you just wire it in and tape it up, and off you go. So now at this point, it's just a matter of in this case, the way that I put them together and color code everything, you just have to match the wires together and seal it with solder, and then we tape up those connections. And then wrap the whole pickup with tape, just like Duncan does, just like Gibson does, just like they all do. There's one. Next one for that one will be the green. Then we just tape it off. Tape off those connections. It's just a matter of kind of tucking everything in, kind of getting everything clean and out of the way. And we wrap it with some bigger tape. There you go. We have now built what will be a 595. So the next process here would be to wax pot it, and then let it cool down and cure. And then from there, you end up with a pickup that's ready to be just kind of cleaned off, labeled, and then we'll be able to install it and test it. But this is a pickup. This is how you assemble a pickup. It's how you make a humbucker, and you know, see the magnetic pull here. Maybe. See that? So this should be a pretty cool pickup. So there you go. We've built a humbucker. We've built in my case, this would be the 595. You've gone through the whole process. You've seen the winding. You've seen how I put it all together, how it's all wired up and taped off and all that. Next process will be to wax pot it, then clean it off, let it cool down, label it with my label on the bottom, and then box it up for the customer. However, I will also make the black one exact same way as this one, and we're going to install that one into a guitar of mine and just kind of see, you know, do a little test so you can see what they sound like. So I don't know how long this video is going to be at this point. I'm going to be working hard at you know, trying to condense it as much as I can, but the whole guitar test, sound test thing will be that'll be done tomorrow in my time. Still be part of this video, but I just don't have time to wax pot these, install it. I got other stuff to do, so that's where we're gonna leave it off for now. And so with the the magic of film, you won't have to wait as long as I do to test it and do a sound thing. So thanks for sticking with me so far, and I hope you like this kind of content. And you know, I'm not really giving away any secrets here. A lot of the magic in pickup winding is just, as a winder, you develop certain processes and certain way of doing things, and a lot of your own pickups and try new things, and then you kind of develop your own database of intel on how to make pickups. So I could have 3 people beside me winding pickups using the same exact parts, the same wire, same everything, and we're all going to get different results just because of other varying factors, right? So the cool thing is there's a lot of boutique pickup winders, and if you want to, you know, support the smaller companies and stuff, you find one that you really like the products, and then you kind of found your flavor in that brand, and you keep buying from them. Or if you don't like one winder's pickups because they just don't work for your ears, try a different one. Or you can buy Seymour Duncan and Gibson and DeMarzio pickups all day long and get the same sound every time you buy the same model. There's no right or wrong answer. So we'll be back with one of these in a guitar, and check out some tones. So here we are, a couple days later. This is the first time I don't finish a whole video in one day. I normally just shoot it in the morning-ish, cut it up in the afternoon, and then it's uploaded by the same night. This is the first time where it's taken more than one day. I had to wax pot this pickup and the black one that I also made after, off camera. But yesterday we had a snow day, so of course the house was full. All the kids were home, wife and kids. I don't like shooting video in the house unless I'm the only one in it, minus the cats, because they don't come out anyway. So here we are 2 days later, post snow day. And so I wound the black pickup matching this one, same specs. The only thing different is the color of the bobbins, black versus cream. Wax potted them, and I have installed the black one in one of my guitars. So I pulled this out of that guitar, which is a 508, part of my 5 series. This is on the more modern side of things. So the 508 is little tighter in the lows, a little bit more scooped, and a little more edgy on the highs for more attack, more percussive stuff. You know, the stuff that the cool metal kids are doing these days. Pulled that out of this guitar and installed the 595, which is also a modern character style pickup. A little bigger lows, a little rounder highs, and a little bit more mids than the scooped 508. So I've installed it into this guitar. I'm gonna have to hide this, you know. Well, not really. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a big Alice in Chains fan, and so, you know, it felt like the right time to test this pickup in Uncle Jerry's guitar. So we have Uncle Larry, we have Uncle Jerry. This is Uncle Jerry's guitar. And so we have the 595, the black one, installed right here, right now. For proof, here's the picture. And yeah, it's a very cool pickup. It's very loud. It's around the 14K range on a strong Alnico 5 with 43 gauge magnet wire, and it does the thing. So for sound stuff, we're mic'd up to the Vintage 30 at the top here in the PRS Archon 212 cab. I used to have the Archon head. Used to. Maybe that's a story for someone. Maybe I'll talk about amps that I've had in another video. But for now, we got the cab's good. Once you change the speakers out, so I got a Vintage 30 there, and then down here is a Cannabis Rex. 2 16 ohm speakers wired in series to 8 ohms into the Bogner XTC 3534, which is a great amp and it sounds awesome. But the reason I chose this for this is that I get a good 3 channels, you know, clean, and I can dirty it up with the blue channel and then go full bore with the red. Kind of give you the scope of what the 593 does in this Strat, Super Strat style guitar. We are plugged into the usual board. Probably not going to kick on any overdrives or anything, because this has plenty of gain and it is a noisy little thing. So once you put in gain and an overdrive or a boost or anything, you kind of need a noise gate, and I don't have one of those. I had one and I sold it. I don't normally play with a shit ton of gain anymore. The older I get, the lower the gain goes, and then the better the tone gets, actually. So read into that what you will. So we're running into that. The board is, yeah, like I might throw on some chorus and some reverb on the clean just to kind of give you an idea of that. But as far as the gain is all going to be coming from the amp, you'll notice that this is a pretty cool pickup for that stuff. On the clean, it's very loud, right? Because it is a high output pickup, so it's really pushing the clean channel. So I had to tweak some things a bit to kind of not get the clean channel to break up. And it doesn't really break up that easy unless you really crank. So the clean channel has a volume and a gain, but the gain doesn't really do like any distortion, really. It'll start to break up if you crank it, like a nice warm, kind of like if you were to crank like a Fender Tweed, an old Fender Tweed, kind of like that kind of breakup. But that doesn't really work well with this kind of pickup. So that's the sound, that's the rig, that's the hookup, SM57 into the, I'm running a UA, Universal Audio USB interface with a built-in mic preamp in there. That's going into the DAW, where I'm just recording this like I normally do, and there's no like post processing on the audio. It's basically like no EQing to, you know, all the EQing is done on the amp. So I'm gonna hook this up. We're gonna play some, I don't know what, I haven't planned anything. We're gonna play whatever. You'll get to hear what this sounds like through this rig. And I don't know, maybe see if a 595 is your cup of tea or not. Or you know, you got to see a pickup being made from a pile of parts to something that works. So I'll hook the noise capturing stuff up, and we'll jam out. All right, so we're all hooked up, we're all mic'd up, everything's a go. We're recording on the DAW, so we'll start off with some cleans. This is a clean, there's nothing on it, it's bone dry. Throw on some reverb and a bit of chorus. Why not? Let's try with like clean channel, a little bit of ODR1 just for a little bit of hair. Cleans up not too bad. Okay. Blue channel, a little bit of rock. You can hear there's some attack there. There's some healthy mids, good low end. A little bit of boost on there. Actually, amp boost. You can hear how noisy it is. So lots of gain here. Playing whatever. Let's see here. Oh, so sloppy. Cleans up not too bad with the volume down, although you're getting the noise. So there's the 595. We made that pickup on the video. Now there's one of them in here. One of them is going out for a customer in his Strat, and he'll be gigging with that. And that's been pretty cool. Just to kind of show, although they might not be tuned the same, but like modern character type stuff. And then just a little bit of crunch here. Compare that with this. 59er Vintage Customs. Into some clean. The notes are not as fat as the 595, maybe a little shimmerier, but brightness they're close. And then once you add gain, there's a vocal character difference there too. But in the clean, go back to the G&L. The camera's going to capture that, but that's definitely louder than the other guitar. Clean. So there you go. G&L Jerry Cantrell Rampage Tribute Series 593 from Romain Pickups. We made one on video. We wound it up. You saw the guts, you saw the making of it. It's now, one of them's now in here. And I don't know, hopefully that was cool. Hopefully that was interesting and a bit different with the whole YouTube thing. Yeah, and just thanks for watching. Thanks for, if you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing. If you're not, maybe you should. So if you get anything out of this, you know, help me out. Like, subscribe, whatever. And hope you have a good weekend, because it's Friday again. I seem to be doing this once a week, and now I'm on a pattern of Fridays. So we're going to stick with that for now. And yeah, so we'll say goodbye to Blue Dress. And till the next one.